Hello everyone and welcome to today's video where I'm going to go through the fragrances I've worn over the last week. You'll have to bear with me today. I can see I'm already swaying. Just very tired today. It happens sometimes, right? Sleep gets interrupted, all that kind of thing. But today's the time I've got to do this video and I've been really excited and very happy with the fragrances I've been wearing over the last week or so wanted to talk about them. What I did think though is I'm not going to look up notes today. I don't know if I've got the brain power for looking up notes, which will be good anyway, I think, because I can just tell you how I find the fragrances and what stands out most to me. So if that sounds interesting, please keep watching. First up, we have My Euphoria by Calvin Klein. Now this one's taken me by surprise. This is a release from this year. I think the Euphoria range goes back to something like 2005 though, but My Euphoria is 2023. I've never really gotten into the Euphorias, but I smelled this and was really intrigued. It's very sweet. It's very sweet. It's blackcurrant. But to me, the blackcurrant comes off more like raspberry. And it's got some interesting notes in the base. There's meant to be oud in it. I don't really get oud, but there's also bamboo, which gives a greenness. So the experience of My Euphoria is this initial huge sticky blast of blackcurrant. And then that settles down and it remains though, it remains throughout the duration. But then it becomes woodier and interestingly greener. I think it's the bamboo that comes through. This is nostalgic for me. It reminds me of the early 2000s. You know, it's a long time since I've smelled Good Girl, a long time, and it doesn't smell like Good Girl. But it's that whole sticky, sweet, nightclub bar, early 2000s, late 1990s. Very much so. I know what else is in here. I'm remembering now. There's a sesame note, which gives this a slight smokiness. Yeah, like a nightclub. This is like a nightclub in the early, in the early 2000s, late 90s. In a good way, in a good way. I wore this over last weekend. We went away and this is the only one I took with me, the only fragrance I took with me. And I wore this day, I wore this night. It wasn't too hot, mind you. It wasn't too hot. So I wouldn't wear this in the high heat. But basically, it's sweet, blackcurrant, and that's really prominent at the beginning. And it's got a syrupy stickiness to it. And like I say, the blackcurrant to me looks more like this color. It's more of a raspberry kind of quality. And there's a slight, very slight, I don't want to overstate it, smokiness, and there's some greenness that comes through. I like it because it's strong and yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's perfumey. It's, you know, year 2000 perfumey. It's just got that whole vibe. So that's My Euphoria by Calvin Klein. Next. La Petite Robe Noire by Guerlain. Now, I hadn't worn this in ages and I decided to wear it to work one day in the last week. And again, it wasn't a particularly hot day. It was kind of coolish. Really enjoyed wearing this. So the experience of La Petite Robe Noire, and I think it's more than a decade old now, so a lot of us are familiar with it, but it is a cherry licorice fragrance, basically. Cherry licorice black tea. And so to me, the cherry is, the notes call it a sour cherry, which it is, but to me it smells like a candied cherry, like a hard candied cherry. And the licorice, the anise, they're both in there, and the black tea contribute to the candy quality, that hard cherry candy. What I did note was this gets better the longer you're wearing it. It rounds out a bit more. Initially you get cherry coming forward, you get licorice coming forward, and it's harsher at the beginning. As it settles down, it becomes warmer, rounded, and sweeter. I really like this one. And the wonderful thing is the longevity. This doesn't mess about. This projects 8 hours minimum. You don't need to top it up. I really enjoyed wearing this week, and that's La Petite Robe Noire by Guerlain. Next, we have, let me get this right, Burberry Brit Rhythm. Now, I believe this has been discontinued, but you can still find it, I think. You can still find it here in Australia anyway. Oh, it's so lovely. Okay, Burberry Brit Rhythm has a lot of aldehydes at the top, so it's that crisp linen freshness. Really nice. Really nice. Not too much though. It's clean. It's clean, fresh, white shirt. The reason I wore this week was that yesterday I had to go to a physiotherapist appointment. I've injured my knee, which is a bit of a bore, right? So yes, when, you know, this is great. Doctors, dentists, physiotherapists, where you're in close proximity to others and you don't want them bothered by your scent. Surprisingly though, you can smell this on yourself for 4 hours, I think, and it's just very pleasant, clean, crisp, professional. I like this a lot. That is Burberry Brit Rhythm. For a couple of evenings in the last week, this is Narciso Poudre. It's an EDP and I like it a lot. I like it a lot. It is basically very strongly powdery musk and rose. There's other things in here. There might be jasmine, I'm not sure. There's other florals, but it's the powdery musk that comes forward. And I was really surprised. I mean, I am really surprised because a number of times I've worn this, my partner compliments me on it. And why I'm surprised is because to me, the powdery nature of this, and it's super powdery, makes it quite vintage smelling. But I guess it's very pleasant. I mean, I like to wear it. I was surprised he liked it because it's vintage powdery. It's wonderful to put on after a shower, go to bed. It's comforting. The heavy musk in these Narciso cubes, I find it very comforting. This is probably the heaviest of the cubes. I've also got the orange cube, what's it called? Ombre. I've got that one. That's a much lighter fragrance. Poudre's heavy, but I enjoyed wearing it this week. Narciso Poudre. Last but by no means least, we have Citrus Riviera by BDK. I am wearing this today, so I shall spray a little more on. So Citrus Riviera is like sitting in a cafe on a sunny day and there's lemons in a basket on the table in the cafe. There's also lemons on the breeze. You can also smell other green notes in this. It's got eucalyptus, I think, in it, and it smells like being outside. The thing to say about Citrus Riviera, I think, is that it is straight down the middle unisex, meaning I feel like that when I put on a unisex fragrance, it can feel a bit masculine, even though it's not masculine, because many of the fragrances I have are sweet, they're feminine. So there's not a lot of sweetness in this at all. The sweetness in this comes from the lemon and it's not overly sweet. This starts out very lemony, bergamoty, and then the aquatic notes come in, the green notes come in, and that makes it more unisex. I like how this smells, especially on fabric. It seems to, on a warmer day, it just seems to heat up and you've got this lovely green, aquatic, and in the dry down, slightly lemony fragrance that is just very not so much invigorating. I've got more invigorating fragrances, but it's really a bit lush, and it, this is going to sound silly, it makes me feel almost like a good looking young man. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but the energy is a bit spunky. It's a bit yeah, there's something about it. There's something about it, youthful, kind of androgynous energy. I like it a lot because it hangs around for 5 hours on a warm day. That's Citrus Riviera by BDK. And that is it, friends, for my fragrances this week. Do let me know if you have any of these, what your thoughts are on them. And thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.